Hello friends and welcome back to Enterprise Architecture. Last episode we finally unlocked Advanced Technium in Techopolis 3. That means we have a whole new world of new machines that are on the horizon for us, and that means most importantly we can start diving into Mekanism. So with no further ado, let's dive right in. Alright, so as mentioned, we have been making up Advanced Technium ingots. I am going to grab up all of those that we have right now because we're going to start putting those to use. And this is the new quest line that is available to us down here under Getting Towards Elite Technium. The first thing on our list, thankfully, is going to be Metallurgic Infusers. And that means we can start working around a lot of the various machines that we are needing to use right now from immersive engineering. Namely, we can start making steel and some of these other ingredients without using blast furnaces, which are slow and clunky and huge. So a lot of this we can tear up. It means that instead we can start using carbon as our source here, and we have a couple of different ways of getting enriched carbon. We no longer will need to make coal coke as a result of that as well. We can start just using straight charcoal to make that carbon and tear out a whole lot of these pieces of our puzzle. So that's going to be one of the things that we are going to do in the near future. Now, between episodes, I had made a couple of optimizations here. One of those came from a recommendation from longtime viewer Blackest Dawn. I have turned off our coke ovens where we're making charcoal for now because we don't need that much creosote oil. Instead, I am using the compressed furnaces. I locked those between episodes, and I'm actually using the double compressed furnaces because these take 4 stacks of items and give us a very fast throughput. And now we're making more charcoal than I know what to do with. So that's what we're going to be using to make our enriched carbon here once we get our metallurgic infusers done. I also went ahead and added coolers in between our copper machines somewhere over here. So these fuel tanks are getting water in them, and between our various solidifiers, that's how we're cooling these down. So now we are making copper ingots pretty much immediately because we have infinite amounts of water. We're actually making copper ingots a little bit faster than we can keep up with them. So that's going to be wickedly effective for us here as well. Although this will also probably get torn out in the near future. Spoiler alert. Alright, let's get this metallurgic infuser knocked out real quick. We just need to make ourselves up a couple of furnaces using our compressed stone that we started automating a little while ago. We are missing something here. We need a steel gear. Okay, great. We probably should start automating steel gears because it looks like we're going to need a lot of those in the future. Once we get our steel set up a little bit more optimized, we can indeed start doing that. But for right now, let's just grab a stack of steel ingots, throw this into our gear press, and start getting those cranked out real fast. As I mentioned, we only need 1 for now. Let's see here, something's coming out. Yeah, let's just grab up whatever comes in. 2, great. Alright, so there's our Advanced Technium machine frame. It looks like I had already made one before and I had forgotten about it, so we can just grab that up. There is our metallurgic infuser. That knocks that off the list. Next up, we need to do some manufactured osmium. For that, we are going to need 16 advanced research books and 32 aluminum ingots. So advanced research books are real easy. We just need a little bit more of our advanced technium nuggets. I'm going to grab 2 more of those out of there, and we'll throw this into the researcher to start making our research books real fast here. Alright, and 32 advanced research done. We throw that together with our aluminum ingots, and we should have here momentarily our manufactured osmium blueprint. Oh, it looks like I only need 16, but don't worry, I'm going to use the rest of these very rapidly here. Okay. So once this is done, we will have access to osmium, but unfortunately the recipe to osmium is not very straightforward in this pack. Oh no, that would be too easy here. So we use this research book with, or excuse me, this blueprint with aluminum dust to make manufactured osmium. Now, hopefully there's another way of getting osmium in the pack somewhere that I have not found yet. I'm sure we will encounter that as we go. Not important for right now. What is important is to make our actual osmium using that research. So, using that blueprint. So let's put the blueprint in here. I'd already made up a stack of aluminum dust by just tossing some aluminum ingots into my crafter, into my crusher. So that worked out well for us. So any moment now, we should then start getting our osmium in here. And then the osmium we're going to start using right away to make more interesting things. Alright, there is our manufactured osmium. We can grab that and we will go ahead and get some tech bucks for it. All right, let's slap down our Metallurgic Infuser here. We are going to need to make ourselves up a little bit more of our aluminum dust so that we can start doing a little bit more infusing. So to that end, we're gonna have to go right next to our very, very loud crusher here, throw in another half stack of aluminum ingots, and grab those back out as aluminum dust momentarily. All right, there we go, half a stack, and with any luck, we should be able to infuse this directly in our infuser. Now, I'm not sure, I'm gonna have to try this out. I think we can just dump this into the input slot. Yes, we can, and that will make our osmium ingots for us. I think it's 4-to-1 though on the aluminum dust, which again is not very efficient. So for right now, the dirty osmium dust, we are going to need to crush in a crusher, but in the near future, we'll get the enrichment chamber and we'll be able to use that instead. Unfortunately, this is just a little bit out of our reach right now because we don't have control circuits and we don't need an Inscriber. So we'll wait till we have 8 dirty osmium dust and then we'll go throw that in the crusher the same way we did our aluminum, and then we will be able to smelt that up. All right, throw these back into the crusher as well, and now we're already getting our osmium dust back out. Again, that's very rapid. Now that we have this done, I believe we can literally just smelt this in our regular old smelter to get our ingots back out. All right, those are all now done, and we have some osmium to work with. That is wonderful news. Let's dive right into making our Inscriber, because I think this is going to be the most valuable thing for us to have on hand next. There we go, there's our Inscriber. With our Inscriber, we will be able to start making a variety of ingredients, and most importantly, this is going to be how we are going to get our alloys in this pack, starting with our basic control circuit. So let's run down and set this up. We're going to need to take the remaining osmium that we've got, pick up some redstone dust and lead along the way, and get these cranking out. All right, let's get some cables stuck down here. Let's get the Inscriber thrown down. Let's go ahead and make up our first basic control circuit. I think we should have all of the ingredients we need for that if we can get them into the right place. So I think something like this is the right recipe. There we go. Slowly but surely, we are going to be using the Inscriber for that. You know, I really love all of the updated visuals in these packs. I had not played with, I guess, E12 or Mekanism in a while, but just look at how gorgeous these Mekanism circuits are. Look at how wonderful this Inscriber interface looks now. All of these have been upgraded so well. I really am loving this. All right, so we've got our basic control circuits now. We are only a few moments away from the last of our osmium coming in, and then we can go ahead and crush and then smelt that momentarily. And then we'll use this once, there we go, we have it emptied out. We can now go ahead and make our control circuits here. Excuse me, no, the infused alloys, that's right. So we're just going to dump in way too much redstone. Oh, I should not have put that much in there. And we will then use that here for our infused alloys, slowly but surely. That's coming in. Let's get credit for that. Wonderful. All right, and these are used just per usual in Mekanism to make a variety of things, but it looks like we have a couple of new things as well. All right. So we can play with all of that later. We might also need to upgrade our pipes, which, if I remember correctly, you can just right-click with infused alloy onto a pipe to upgrade it. So that might be the quick way to do that. So let's see here. What is next on our list? I think we want an enrichment chamber if we can make it. We do have 2 control circuits now, plenty of iron. So let's head back to base and make our enrichment chamber next. All right, there is our Advanced Technium machine frame, and here comes our enrichment chamber. So this is going to be really useful for us because we can turn our carbon from coal, charcoal, what have you, into enriched carbon, which is a good yield. I think we get, 8-fold when we do that. Similarly, enriched redstone out of regular redstone. All right, so of the quests that we have remaining here, electric pump is something that we can make with what we have on hand. So let's go ahead and make this. We do need to make up ourselves another Advanced Technium machine frame. Again, got a bunch of Advanced Technium ingots laying around, so that's going to be easy enough. We also need to make up another fluid pump. And right, there we go. Nickel plates are in place, and now we should have everything we need to make the electric pump, except for I'm missing the machine frame. I thought I literally just made that frame. Let's try that again. Here we go. There's an Advanced Technium machine frame, and now we should be able to make this. Okay, there is the electric pump. That solves for that. That will allow us to pump water out of a water source or other various liquids as we need them. We don't actually need that right now though, so let's just throw it in here until they actually give us a recipe that calls for it. All right, so of the things that we have remaining, most of the rest of these, it look like, is going to require us to have advanced control circuits. So we need to make that. It does look like we will be able to make our enriched flint. And you know what? I've never used enriched flint for anything before. It looks like, oh, that's how we're going to make oxygen. Go ahead and throw down our enrichment chamber while we're here. Let's go ahead and make up some of that enriched flint real quick while we are thinking about it. All right, enriched flint is now on our person. We can use that. I need to clean up my inventory again, per usual. All right, so we've got that ready to go, and we get credit for that. Let's go ahead and make up our advanced control circuits real quick here. We need silver ingots along with our basic control circuits. And so what was that? I believe we need to go to the infuser, and that means we need what? Redstone, we need a silver ingot, and oh, maybe that goes there, and then the control circuit goes here. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay, so that will make our advanced control circuit. Once this is done, we will get that, collect credit for that, and I'm gonna now make up a mess of basic control circuits real fast while that we have a little bit more osmium coming in. It also occurs to me now that osmium is probably renewable. So if I put one osmium ingot in there, I get 200 millibuckets of osmium in that. So that should make for us, what, 20 ingots? Let's see, just to check here. So 1 with some aluminum dust, that should go down to 190, I think. Yeah, it does. So we're getting 20 off of 1 ingot. So as long as we have at least 1, we can always make a lot more osmium. All right, so I want to get some osmium production set up that's automated this episode. And to do that, we are going to need to upgrade our miner situation because I need to be able to get stone. Stone will then give us aluminum. Aluminum will then be giving us our actual osmium. So to get through all of that, let's get our advanced miners unlocked. We need 8 basic miners. For that, we are going to need 8 of our sturdy machine frames. All right, there we go. There's 8 of those. And now with that, I made up all of our stone hammers between recording sessions here and all of our stone pickaxes. So we should be able to make up all 8 of our basic miners now. All right, so we'll put those in here, we'll put in our miner, and then momentarily we should get back out our miner blueprint for the advanced miner. And then I've already made an extra basic miner here. We can combine that in our research machine here to be able to fabricate an advanced miner. Then from that, we will go ahead and set up our first miner, which is going to be a stone miner. Okay, so let's come back over here, research crafter, drop these in, and momentarily that should give us our advanced miner out the other end. All right, time to start crushing it. So let's go ahead and make up our crusher real quick. We just need to make another Advanced Technium machine frame. Everything else I've already gathered up for us here, our lava, and we made our extra advanced control circuits. So now we have the crusher. That's going to be the critical missing piece of this equation here. And the last thing that we're going to need here is going to be an energized smelter. We haven't made one of those yet, but again, it looks like that is going to be easy enough for us to make. We just need some more nuggets here, another Advanced Technium machine frame. There's that, and then we have everything else we need to make this. I don't know why this isn't in the primary quest line. Those are so incredibly useful to have. So now we have an electric furnace. We no longer have to fuel it. All right, so at the very back of our platform, we're gonna get started here by making up the frame that we need for our miner. So let's go ahead and set this up. This is the same way we did this in what, the second episode? So we're just gonna make a single stone miner over here. And again, we're gonna use that advanced miner that we have created for it. And now this needs to have our advanced miner in the front, just like so. That is already starting to work. We are gonna throw a sturdy machine frame in here to increase the speed of it, and that's gonna give us 2 stone at once. Wonderful. All right. So this stone we are only going to use for the purpose of this one setup. So I think as we expand in the future, we need to start setting more isolated independent setups to make this run a little bit smoother for us. All right, so that stone is going to need to come into a rock enricher. And maybe actually we put that right here. And this then gets its diorite focus. Now, when we start pulling items out of there, this should then insert them into here. And yes, this is then going to start making diorite for us. All right, let's go ahead and put our water purifier up here. I actually made a second ambient water collector because I figured we might need more water as we go. Then all we need to do is connect their pipes up here. So these are going to need to be configured to pull out of there. No, don't throw that on the ground. There we go. Let's pull out of here, pull out of here. Then we can pull out of here. Okay, and there we go. Now with that update, this is now making diorite for us. The diorite we should then be able to pull out. I'm going to give ourselves a 2-block gap there because we might want to expand this as we go. This will then go into our rock washer. The rock washer needs to get an aluminum focus, and I believe this one, only uses plain water. So it was good that we added another one of those water collectors there. We just need to pull our diorite out of there and into our rock washer. That should go fine for us. And that then will make our aluminum for us pretty quickly. All right, so out of that rock washer, we are going to need to put down a compactor. The compactor will then get our pieces. So let's set that to pull into there. And as those are getting finished, we will get aluminum ore pieces in there, and that is making our raw aluminum for us. Our raw aluminum then needs to go into an enrichment chamber. Now, I had wired up our pipes underneath the floor here. There we go. So we do have electricity already underground for us to use. Let's bring a cable up, and we will put the enrichment chamber here. That should allow us then to be able to pull into that real fast. There we go. So that should be pulling our raw aluminum out and into here. We do need to configure this. So let's clear all of our sides here, and we want the back to allow input. There we go. And we're going to make the front our output. That is crunching along. That's going to give us our aluminum dust. Our aluminum dust then just needs to go into our Metallurgic Infuser here, which will give us our dirty osmium dust. I'm going to move all of that back just a little bit here because we have plenty of room for that. Right there. Okay, great. And now we should be able to repeat the process here. Let's make sure that those are pulling. Did we tell this to output on the front? Yes, auto eject out of there, if you please. Oh, but this doesn't know that we can input. So again, we need to tell it that the back is going to be input, just like that. And now this should give us, using our osmium, some of our dirty osmium clumps. All right, so the dirty osmium dust coming out of there needs to go into yet another enrichment chamber, which we'll put down here. Again, we'll use a logistical transport on that. The reason why we are consistently using pipes to connect these instead of just putting them in a row like you can do in Mekanism is because I might need to scale this up, and it might be easier for us at this point to do multiple machines than to try and actually go through and add the upgrades to this. I haven't looked up to see what the upgrades are going to look like yet. All right, so that is now getting our dirty osmium dust. Our dirty osmium dust then should get enriched and turned into osmium regular dust. And then that regular osmium dust, at long last, we will be able to smelt. I'm going to put in another cable down here, right off this line, and that will go into the energized smelter to finally, at long last, finish its journey and become osmium. So we're going to export out the front, eject on, just need to tell our pipes what to do, and tell our machine that in this case, you need to accept items from the back, just like that. You're going to auto eject out the top for us. There we go. And now, at long last, this should finish automating all of our osmium. There we go, osmium ingots. Now, the one thing that we do need to do is loop back our osmium so that it goes into here, because otherwise this will not work for us. So let's go ahead and close up the floor real quick. There we go. We need to make sure that this is prioritizing exporting into this machine first. So let's go just like this. And I think since this is the closest container, that it should want to go in there. Actually, you know what we can do? We can do multiple outputs here. Let's do this. Let's come out of the side instead. Let's make sure that this knows to come out the side. There we go. And now we come back and configure our Metallurgic Infuser, and we need to tell it that our secondary input is going to go onto the front here. So our chemicals in this case. So there, now we have osmium coming in here. This will get all filled up before it tries to do anything else with it. So all of these osmium ingots are going to continue going into here, and then we'll have a huge backlog of osmium ingots in theory. And then the extras can go into a storage drawer, which we'll put connected to our main line right here. And those are all at about this height anyway, so we'll put this right there. So some of these upgrades are indeed within our reach. The speed upgrade we can get to, but it looks like the energy upgrade, which is probably the most important one for us, requires gold, and we have no access to gold at this point. So that one's gonna have to wait. The rest of these are gonna be relatively simple. It looks like we can just put a brick in here for the muffling one. That might be useful to have. But unfortunately, yeah, until we get the gold, I don't know what we're gonna do about it. So we're gonna find a way to get gold sometime in the future. But for now, this slowly but surely should be producing all of the osmium that we are going to need. Now, I do think this is a good time to replace this one pipe finally with our logistical sorter. I know I have complained about the logistical sorters in the past, but I do want to add a new item stack here of our osmium ingots. Let's add this. We're going to save that. We want this to round robin. That's the main reason that I'm doing this, is because I want some of our osmium to go up here into this container, and some of our osmium should go into the Metallurgic Infuser, and we want that to be at basically an equal rate. So for right now, oops, I just put too many in there. This should start popping these out. This is at 34. This one is at 12. So in theory, yeah, that one should go here. And then the next one, if we wait just a second, should go here. So this should go to 35 if I have this set up properly. And yeah, we can see that it does. This is what we want to have happen. It'll continue to try to do this until this one is full completely with 64 osmium ingots. And there we have it, automation of osmium end-to-end, 100% complete, and we don't ever have to touch it again, unless we want to increase the yield, when we will have to touch it again. I am really glad for us to be back in the world of Mekanism. This is a mod that I feel very comfortable with. It was one of the first mods I really delved deep into back in the old days, so I feel very comfortable in this world. So now that we're getting into that, I feel like we can really start getting some more automation really nicely, concisely set up. In between episodes, I might go back and set up the same sort of isolated setup so that all of our other resource production around our metals can be done completely independent of our other items. So in that regard, it should increase the throughput and probably the frame rate that we're getting on this pack, because we won't have to use our main bus line to deliver all of that stone to the different facilities. So I might tear this up a little bit, rebuild it with that in mind. I might also go back and automate some of the other things that are a little janky right now, specifically around things like coal production, etc., now that we have a source of power. But all of that is going to have to wait for the next episode. For now, that's the end of this episode of Enterprise Architecture. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you back here next time. Bye, friends.